I'm here with Adrian Gonzalez, former MLB All-Star, Gold Glove winner, Silver Slugger, now Dodgers commentator. Adrian, thank you for joining me today, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, it's always good. It's a good day right now, good weather, and baseball's almost in the middle of the season, so it's all good.
That's good to hear. And let's start off with those Dodgers, the reigning World Series champs. They're gearing up for a repeat run, something that we haven't seen in almost a quarter of a century. What would you say stands between them and kind of ending this drought that we haven't seen since really that Yankees team so long ago?
I would say the only thing that potentially could stand in between them and being able to repeat is a team that gets really, really hot and makes all the plays and all the pitches in the playoffs that a team that they end up facing. I think, if a team just kind of plays perfect baseball against them, executes all their pitches, gets all those key hits, obviously any team can beat any team in baseball. But just when you line up the rosters, when you line up the teams and the talent, there is no team that matches up with them.
You being around the team so much, just on a day-to-day basis, you get to see greatness, of course, in the form of much of the roster, but specifically Shohei Ohtani at the plate and now back on the mound. I'm curious, just what's that kind of like to kind of be there to see what he's doing that we have really never seen done on the diamond.
I think he's an incredible talent. We're starting to see him pitch again, for the first time as a Dodger, and it's a lot of fun to see. It's great. I mean, the things that he can do offensively, we saw him last year. We saw him just do incredible things. Both hitting home runs, driving in runs, batting for average, stealing bases, all the things that he does. And then pitching wise, I mean, we're starting to see what he can do, on the mound. On the Dodger side, obviously we've seen it as an angel, and we know he's one of the best pitchers in the game when he's out there every fifth day. But obviously the Dodgers are taking him slow because they don't want any more injuries, from that arm. So they're taking care of him, and they'll ramp him up as they get ready for the playoffs.
I understand you've been in your position as a commentator for some time now, but I'm interested to hear what the transition was like for you from your playing days to just kind of being on the air, if there were any early mishaps early on, or if you just kind of were able to seamlessly put the mic in front of you.
I would say I'm very comfortable talking about baseball. Obviously, it's what I've done, it's what I know. I always say I have a master's degree in baseball, right? I mean, everybody goes to school, to college for something. My school was baseball, so very comfortable talking about it. And things that I had to learn in the transition was to keep talking when somebody's talking in your ear. I think that's a tough one, because you're trying to say something, specify something, talk about somebody's mechanics, and then somebody goes in your ear and says 5 seconds, cut it off. And you got to keep talking instead of going like, huh, what'd you say? You just got to talk right through and listen and keep going, and know how to cut off a thought when you're not done finishing your thought, because if you got to go to commercial break, you got to go to commercial break. You can't just sit there and keep going until you prove your point. So that was a tough adjustment at first. I got used to it. The other thing was to give more energy. I think I'm a very low-key person when it comes to things, but I've learned over time to kind of step up the energy when you're talking in front of a camera.
Yeah, I like what you said about the master's degree in baseball. That's a good way to put it, and you're clearly applying that. Having played for both the Dodgers and the Padres, I'm curious if you could kind of compare and contrast the environments, the fan bases, your time, in playing for these two rivals.
I mean, two teams that their cities are, devoted to them, dedicated, great fan bases, passionate. These last few years have been a great competition for the two of them. There's always going to be teams that in the National League West that are in competition with each other that season or multiple seasons because of the talent of the team. I remember when I played for the Padres, it was the Giants. That was the team that was, we were battling with. The Diamondbacks was also another team we were battling with that was going to the playoffs. The Rockies, we played game 163 So like the National League West has this. It's not like the traditional AL East where it's like the Yankees and the Red Sox are always in it, right? You have teams that are in it, then you have teams that are not, then you have the Dodgers obviously have taken another step and have been at the top of the division for the last 10 years with the new ownership. But prior to that, it was a coin flip to see what two teams were going to be battling it out. So, but it's been a lot of fun to see the Padres ownership do what they've done and really invest in the players, and then the fan base really get behind them and get excited about that. So when they do play each other, it's a lot of fun.
And just kind of looking back on your career, I'm curious if there's a pitcher that you would say you felt like you always maybe got the best of in a good matchup, and kind of the inverse. Is there a pitcher that you just always kind of struggled to hit in these matchups?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I always tell people the hardest pitcher to face in his prime was Tim Lincecum. When he had like a 3 to 4 year span when I was with the Padres, that he was healthy, he was in his prime, he won back-to-back Cy Youngs. He was the hardest pitcher to hit for me at that time. He just, the way he threw it, the way his ball moved, the velocity at which he threw it, all that was pretty special. I had success against a couple pitchers. So it's one of those things where as a hitter, you don't like to call out the pitcher you had success against, just because you don't want to, rub it in their face. But I did have quite a bit of success against two pitchers in particular.
All right, no names. That's fair. Those Giants teams, with Lincecum, and I remember Brian Wilson. Those were some fun teams. I'm sure you had some great matchups with them. And I understand you're also working on this campaign here with WSS. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, back-to-school campaign with WSS. I mean, everybody needs to be able to get ready for back to school, and just really be able to do it in an affordable way, in a place where they can do nonstop shopping all at once. So WSS gives everybody that opportunity to get ready to back to school, get your shoes, get your clothes, get everything that the family needs, and do it in a place where you can get it all and do it in an affordable way.
Yes, that's very important. And Adrian, I really appreciate your time. Just have one last question for you. Switching gears just a little bit, I saw your recent post in the wake of the protests in Los Angeles amid the ice raids. So you said that you normally would not be speaking out, but this was something that you felt the urge and the need to speak on. I'm curious just what prompted you to wade into these waters and like you said, speak out, even though it's not traditionally maybe something that you would do.
Yeah, I mean, as an athlete or somebody that's working, like I said, in broadcast and things like that, you want to, you don't want to get into politics too much. But when you see the people, you see videos of somebody in their car, the window gets smashed, and then they show their passport, right? They show that they're a U.S. citizen, right? I mean, you're like, why are they breaking somebody's car window when they're a U.S. citizen? Like, wouldn't you want to make sure that a person is a U.S. citizen and get, before you do something that drastic, like things like that I would see going into a high school graduation. It's like things that you see, and it's all profiling. They're not. It's if you look a certain way, they're gonna go and grab you, do all these really things that they shouldn't be doing, and then they'll check what you are. And it's like, no, that's wrong. And so when I saw that, I was like, no, like that's just wrong. I can't stay quiet with that.
Of course, I think, like you said, it's an important time to speak up, and I appreciate you sharing more perspective on that there. Speaking on the campaign, a little bit about your career, Dodgers, kind of hit on all of it. So Adrian, again, thank you so much for your time, and we'll wish you the best of luck.